Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. Welcome to the farm on this early day of fall. So I'm going to go ahead, again because of the pigs and so forth, I'm going to plant wheat again up on the north field, which is the field we'd be using for the next planting. And that way we won't have another few months without any activity, but more importantly we'll also start accumulating some of the food types we need for the pigs, since we need several kinds. It's going to take us several years to build that up. So good to see that all my keys are still working after the last few bits of entertainment here. Alright, okay. So kind of what I was worried about. We've got a bit of a struggle. Why won't it free up from that cart? Because I'm just worried I'm not going to be able to get that cart free later. Alright, I will head out this way. Whoop. This is big. It's definitely takes some careful maneuvering so that I'm not... Yeah, see, now I'm going to get stuck on the... Alright, doesn't look like I'll clear it. Alright. It does look like I'll clear it. I know it just sounded like I said it doesn't look like I'll clear it, but that was because in my head I was saying, doesn't look like I'm going to get caught, and then immediately jump to, I'm going to clear it. So, apologize for that. Really poor communication there. We obviously came through here, so I know it can fit, but I also realize it's probably really close and really tight. So yeah, there's a bit of a challenge with the Seed Hawk, but we kind of knew that that would be the case. Alright, so I have a good amount of fertilizer, but I need seed. And because of the size of this thing, at this point I'm going to go ahead and try to fill it. You know what? I should be okay. I don't know why I did that. I should be okay for my silos. I do think it takes a bit of dancing, but it's not that bad. And if it really does get bad, I can always just disconnect the back end and leave it there while I fill up the seed tender, because that I think I'd be okay maneuvering, and obviously if it got stuck, would be less of a challenge to get out. So speaking of, let's go through here slowly, because the thing that really causes problems with this equipment, oh goodness, is if we're really going quickly and then it gets stuck on something. Because yes, then it will hang, and then it's a challenge to get it free. So I'd prefer to obviously avoid that if I can here. But I'm also trying to avoid having to disconnect things if I don't need to. So let's see. So can we fill? No, not yet. That's unfortunate because we do have to get pretty close, and I think that then creates a really interesting dynamic. I'm not empty on fertilizer, am I? I better go around this way. Oh, this is liquid fert. Where's my solid fert? Is this it? Yes. Oh boy. I don't even know what my tanks are. It's just sad. Alright. So this should be seed. Alright. Now, is it just because I'm not far enough? There, I guess so. So it really wouldn't let me get to that second container. See, now this is starting... Oh, boy. I think I see a problem already, and I think unless I solve it, I'm going to be in a world of hurt. So I am going to... Because obviously I got myself much closer than I intended because of the liquid fert container that we had. And obviously, there we go. So that'll top off the fertilizer, and that's exactly what I want. And we made it. Another harvest, but yeah, not much room to spare. Or another planting season and harvest coming up. Goodness gracious, what a beginning. So, welcome back to Misty Hills, and those of you that might be new to the series, well, yeah, welcome. What a fun beginning, right? Alright, so we're going to start this way. This is a direct drill, so it shouldn't need me to prepare the field any. We'll obviously get to try that out. Maybe more so than we'd like, but here goes nothing. Alright. So I need to lower. There we go. I've unfolded, obviously. And we need to turn it on. And we look good. But that's as far out as I can zoom. So this is always the fun with these football field long implements, and it's obviously not that long, but it sure feels like that when you're working with these things sometimes. But yeah, let me get my GPS. Yeah, we want to get ourselves moved over a bit. I think that will work and cover most of the field and get ourselves reasonable planting here. So, yep. So I'm less worried that I cover quite as deep as I did before. I just want to get like this part of the field, I think, is what I missed last time, that little segment, and then that caused me some touch-up. But as you can see, we hadn't gone incredibly straight here, so I'm catching a lot of it, but I don't think we're going to catch the very end, if nothing else. There you go, correct. Alright. Now we want to go back. I had a little bit of a panic moment. I'm like, oh my god, am I planting wheat? Like, I didn't make sure and check, but obviously that's the last thing we put in the ground off of this, and usually the way these planters tend to work is exactly that. So yeah, the difference is, like, as soon as I lower it, the fertilizer starts going, so I do want to be careful to not do it too early. So we might have an issue with that one segment that's sticking out there, but maybe when it draws it, it's not that bad. Or we may have a tiny segment that we need to play with. We'll see. I hope not. Looks like we should be okay, because it's usually a bit forgiving across the line. So just through there. All right. And now the rest visually looks like we just are skewing more up the field, and all should be good. So, planting for year 84. Again, pretty late, but that's normal. But speaking of pretty late, I've got some exciting news. I'll share that at the end of the row here. So right now we can go into that field, and I know I didn't show it, but field 39 was up for auction. So we have gone ahead and plowed it to get it ready, but nobody bought it. So I wanted to give you a quick view of this image. This was posted without really any information, but it's in our FSN news and updates section. We're going to be getting a new crop calendar, which is awesome. You can see much longer planting seasons, or at least, we're to the reality of, for the most part, 3 months instead of 2. And similarly, harvest seasons are basically almost for everything at a minimum 3 months. Obviously, we've got exceptions here for planting for potatoes, sugar beets, sugarcane, and sugarcane harvest. And it looks like grape harvest, but those are things that I'm not necessarily using. But even if a few things stick around, like this is a vast improvement, because now we suddenly can plant and harvest, and especially like for wheat and barley, that was the issue. Is like I'd plant here, and then I'm harvesting here is what's going to happen this coming year. I mean, it's possible to put this calendar in earlier, and then maybe suddenly it'll pop in June instead of me having to wait till August. But this will definitely improve, and it might change things. I just don't know how yet. Yeah, and when I say it might change things, what I'm really referring to is, there is the possibility that, plant one end of this field, plant the other end, because, there still is some delay in the harvest cycle. But if I've got a bigger window, like it lets me spread things a bit more. Same thing with planting. So instead of planting one half of the field and one half, on the years at least that I feel I need to do something, because certainly there's a little bit of me here right now that is like, I'm doing this to get pig food, and it's going to take, I need 3 or 4 different crops, so that means I need to cycle exactly through that, and that obviously is going to take some time. And typically, I guess that right now in my head is going to take 4 in-game years to finally be self-sustaining on my pig food. But, if I plant up and down, I can do that easier with the new crop calendar. So definitely nice to see that they've looked at something like that. I don't ever claim to be seeing everything that's ever posted on all the Discord channels, so it's possible it came up. We do have like a suggestions or an ideas section. I'm guessing it was probably mentioned there, if it was mentioned anywhere, and obviously then the FSN leadership said, yeah, that's a good idea, we'll look into that. So that is something that showed up yesterday, so pretty intriguing. Alright, so still trying to really figure out how I like to run this field with this thing, because again, it's big. You know, at this point, like, it's putting down fertilizer. It's not like it's doing it at a different rate. We don't have precision farming, but even with precision farming, I think, again, it's like it's still going to run. And it's not like I've got, whoops, I don't know. Oh. I know what I was thinking in my head, and it kind of worked, but anyway, now this is always a fun turn, but I made it last time. Let's see if I get lucky twice. I might get stuck on that tree. I will. Darn it. Oh, but I cleared it. That's more important. Now the question is, am I going to clear this other one? Yeah, I should be good. Oy. So yeah, maneuvering with this is interesting. Huh. Yashid, I do not know who that is. So maybe it's a FSN operations person. Maybe it's a new FM checking us out. Maybe it's a contractor coming to move something from customs. Maybe my other wheat, which I still haven't been paid for because it's been sitting there. So, you know, and sometimes it just takes a while. It's been kind of a thing that we've had. Okay, so I'm heading along here. I didn't really get the full corner. I kind of did the best I could. But, so, trying to figure out how I can help this guy. So, looks like he's trying to do some stuff. And what I could do is I could have him plow my field, although, yeah, no, I'm still going to need to plow it, because I could have him plow the south end. So again, give me a second. Alright, so I may cut this part short and give this guy a chance, because I'm guessing he's a new contractor, and I really would love to give him an opportunity, and frankly, it gets some work done for me that, again, puts me in a different spot than I would be otherwise. I just don't know that he's really going to get everything done in 2 hours there, but so let me do that. But yeah, I'm going to let him plow the field for a couple hours, and then I'll come and do this later because I've got a little bit of time. You know, I still want to get this field done today, but once again, that's the benefit with the Seed Hawk. It doesn't take a lot of time. So there he is out in the field. And I'm going to get him all set up. And anyway, you know what I'm doing. I don't need to waste more of your time. Alright, so back here, the plowing is done. So Yashid finished that. So I am going to go back out to the field up here north and finish the planting. That is the plan anyway. Obviously that was the plan this morning, and it changed because I had someone show up and ask for work. But yeah, in this case, I wouldn't farm this out. It's not that I'm not wanting to do this work. Where again, at some point, it's not that I wouldn't want to do that other work, but I've done enough plowing. I shared with him, you know, as mayor, I plow enough fields, so that's not a chore that I'm not going to be like, ooh, I want to do it, because I haven't done it in forever. I do it far, far too often. Alright. So the difficulty here obviously will be now I gotta get all my GPS stuff set up again. But that's alright. We gotta go back this way anyway to give it another pass. Wasn't sure why it wasn't working, but I didn't have the right thing selected and moved back. But heading around here, this will give us kind of all the headlands passes, if you want to call it that. I mean, this isn't specifically a headland, but obviously with this island we in essence create one here as we're going north-south. And I didn't create my GPS line. Alright, so now we'll head back over to this side of the field. I guess we'll go this way and get to the bottom. Now I should be able to go north-south, get my passes done, and then obviously finish this little area up here behind things. So, got our pigs. They're doing their thing. If I remember, I'll try to take a look, because I'm curious. I'm thinking the pen is probably full. And so at this point I need to start analyzing when and if do I sell things off, because otherwise I'm just kind of feeding pigs and they're doing nothing for me. So alright, so clearly a little bit off here, wrong direction. Always fun to try to place these things where we need them. Alright, I think that gets us where we need to be. Not sure if we'll catch all of it. Of course not. So, I come back. Maybe I'll grab that little piece. It'll certainly consume some fertilizer. I'm not even sure the seeds are going to notice it, but I thought I had my dots there, but guess not. Not enough, or it just didn't swing over enough. Yeah, I think it's more it didn't swing over enough. Because if you look back there, I've got a little notch on the left side now as we look at it. But obviously, truly, it was the right side as I was going up. But yeah, again, this is as far as I can get out here. So if you recall, one of the topics I was talking about in the last episode was my concern just about with the long inability to play, and the fact that people have kind of gotten into the habit, or started to get in the habit of a couple weeks of not having to worry about their farm because they frankly couldn't do anything. Would we suddenly have people, lose people, and there wouldn't be interest? Did I somehow miss some up here? I guess I did. Interesting. Must be when I turned. The planter must have kind of come up. So, see what I can do to touch that up here. I just got touch up all over. I'm going to have to see if I can figure that one out too, and all kinds of fun. But let me get this done, because otherwise it's going to be that halted 2 words and nothing else, kind of like I'm doing right now. Alright. So we got that. not sure how this is gonna work out here. Kind of a mess is pretty much how it's gonna work out. But I'm thinking I'm gonna, maybe I'll swing clear. I was worried I'm still gonna catch that tree, but I'm okay. So, yeah, actually the one thing I need to do is I need to come back up here. I need 2 passes up on this end. I forgot about that because there's no way I'm going to be able to turn with that. So in the interim then I'll go try to get this solved, and maybe coming this way I'll be able to do something different. I don't know. Just such a challenge with these. No other way to explain it. So we'll see what it will do. Alright, that worked. Probably what I did last time too. If I could just remember that. I'm sure at some point I will. Just like anything else, you kind of get used to what you're doing, and then you kind of understand how to work the field. Alright, so we will do this. That will get us that. I know I got a weird end there, but I'm hoping that won't be enough to cause me significant issues. Try to make this a little bit wider here, take more advantage of the width of the planter so that I truly get the biggest headland I can. I did for a moment, and now it pulled away again, but I think I'm okay here. All right. So again, hopefully this will work. Kind of loosen that up, because if I don't make the turn a bit more shallow, it just kind of gets stuck. Alright, so we should be able to go now. We'll see how it all works out, because again, it takes forever for this thing to align. And once again, well, we have the same problem on the other end. As you can see, we still got a notch. It's almost like I need 3 headlands to be absolutely certain, but alright, so back to what I was saying. So in the last episode, I was concerned with a 2-week hiatus that we'd have a lot of FMs, or we'd have some FMs that might be like, you know, it's just time for me to step away. And sad to say, in essence, we have 2 that are contemplating that at some level. So, Sears, I think, has contemplated it to the level of, yes, he's leaving. Real life has just gotten too crazy, and he just can't devote the time he needs right now. So, he thought he might have been booted for inactivity already, and obviously because the server wasn't running, I certainly wasn't checking. And again, they get 3 years of in-game, and not actually sure that he's even really approached that yet, but he's obviously getting close if he felt he might have already been removed. In addition, Bryce, who just joined us, who doesn't have a lot of cash, you know, and is kind of at that startup phase, which also is its own bit of struggle to get past, also seems to be contemplating whether he's going to stay or not. So unfortunate, but you know, obviously people are going to do what they feel they need to do. It's a game. It's not, you know, it's not a job. They're not getting paid in real money. Obviously, it's just, you know, fake farm sim money. And if this is not someplace they can spend time, or where they want to spend their time, but basically Bryce's standpoint was he might just step away from FSN, and that way he can play Farming Simulator when and how he wants. So again, you know, you could say there's a couple factors in play there. perhaps the new crop calendar I shared earlier will tame the one piece of it, and maybe that'll be enough. But not sure. So, and then the other piece is, the crop calendar is part of that, where obviously we now have more windows to do things, but there was a bit of a tone in his wording, and I don't remember exactly how he said it, that I kind of felt like in single player where, you can just play a different map every day, or have like 5 or 6 different save games going, and just play the one that fits your fancy that day. Obviously here we're on this map, so it just seemed to be like he wanted to just be able to do different things, or it could frankly also be it's just a poor way of explaining he's decided he doesn't like the map, and realizes getting everybody to change isn't going to be easy or possible, and that's just his way of explaining why he may depart, in case people ask. So but the others have indicated intent. Swede here on the field next to me, has said, yeah, he's been a little disconnected, but he's certainly kind of feeling the urge to pull back, and he thinks he's basically going to start working some animals again. But again, his driver was very similar to trying to get something to do every day on the farm, which right now with the crop calendar we don't, but with a new crop calendar we might. And so suddenly, if that comes into play, he may change his mind. So I'm likely going to have some more conversations with folks about that to see, and maybe just giving them a little encouragement and a little patience of, hey, they posted this calendar. It's clearly coming, and if you're looking for the ability to do more things, because, that might encourage people to expand some more fields. Obviously, Swede already had bought a second field. He's just not actively been working them all. But, that might change things then if he's got different windows that he can work in. Because even, let's say, if you plant the same crop, but you've got, 3 days to plant like we used to, it's not the 2 days is that significantly different than 3, but for whatever reason, like psychologically it feels that way. And certainly, I can say, just from my own experience, and the reality of, what it is. I mean, it is an additional 50% of time. So going from 2 to 3 when the numbers are that low, I mean, it is a significant addition of additional time for us to work. So it doesn't double the window, but it makes it 1.5 times larger. Yeah, it's really almost like I said, like I need 3 passes. I have to move over a bit here too, so I'm just kind of well, maybe not, actually. I guess I'll be okay. So we'll lock back in on the track. I thought I for sure was going to hit this tree. Initially, it almost looked like I would hit both, but I really didn't think I could get by that one, but I can. But you can see the fertilizer still is getting put down, where if and when we get precision farming, that should change, because at that point it would know. And, the seed already stops, but with the variable seeding, that would adjust things too. But yeah, so that's where Swede sits. But, and then, Fire said, hey, if the server's stable, I'll certainly try to get on more. And Ginger down south on the southeast side, instead of just straight south here like Sears and Bryce are, has also indicated his intent to get back and get at it. So, but either way, we certainly are losing 1 FM, potentially 2. But Bryce has not been on enough. Not that his loss is any less, because obviously it's still an FM. But I think it'll be felt less by everybody just because he hasn't kind of gotten ingrained into the server community yet. You know, it's not as if we've seen him on here a lot, doing a lot. I mean, he's just frankly done. Seriously, that one little bush is... Wow. Okay. So I'm going to fold this, because backing up, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then, there we go, it should free. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh boy. That was really ridiculous. That is FSN, or FS physics, at its worst, frankly. Wow. Yeah, that was just ugly. But, alright. I was like waiting for everything to flip over. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So there was a little bit of panic there, like, what do I do to stop this? So I just started to unfold it again so it could flatten out, and luckily that seemed to work. But yeah, I think it's making a noise as if it's on, but because I was like, oh, is the seeder just going to return back to the on state? But no, it's not. Alright. So, you know, this is the challenge with large equipment, frankly, is, I mean, while it's super efficient for getting things done, because obviously it's working with is as big as I can get, you've got those logistics challenges that we've seen, that it's just hard to maneuver. I mean, even in a point where I certainly don't have a small field here. I've got 120 acres on one field, but just maneuvering around things in the environment is always difficult, which is why, like, these are great for something like Nebraska lands or something where there's just nothing around the fields and everything's flat and whatever. But so, and frankly, it's part of the reason why I've stayed away from these implements, because I think you waste the benefit you get in the time saved, you give away in fighting it. And, you know, because that was, again, like 30 seconds or a minute that I lost. And that's likely not going to be the only time I'm going to have a problem. Alright. Just wondering if I should just cut a third and be done. But this actually seems to be lining up. Yeah, I'm trying to recall. I think I did run out of seed here on this field, so we may have to refill the seeds, because obviously we're at 75%, and in essence, if this one seed bin empties, we'll kind of be on track there, you know, before it changes to 75. I mean, even so, we're close one way or the other, where I can run basically almost 2 loads of seed with the fertilizer I have with one load. Yeah, because now we're down to 74, so technically we're not quite there. We'd run out of fertilizer a little bit early. Probably 400 or 500 liters short, but I don't think we're going to need that much to get done. So, yeah, that bush is not any further away than this tree, so hopefully I won't have a similar problem, but now we're clear here. So I'm trying to swing a little wider because I'm hoping that will then align this better, and it looks like it does, or at least that one time it did. But, alright, so there we go. Half the seed gone. And I'd say, let's look at where we're at here. Alright, yeah, the fertilized will give us enough. I don't think we need lime. We do not. Gonna need rolling, though. Keep forgetting about that, although, I don't know. I've kind of determined the rolling only adds 2-3% yield. It's going to be difficult for me to find time to do both, and again, once it grows, the rolling doesn't really work. So unless I do it today, I can't do it, but we'll see. But I'm less keen and less worried on rolling than, say, getting my second round of fertilizer done at some point. So, alright. So again, I'm watching that tree, but trying to get the angle. Ah, of course. Come on, it's right there. Like, you can get past this. I know you can. Thank you. We've got one more down there that's really close. Hopefully it all just lines up and I don't have a problem. Yeah, and frankly, the fertilizer problem may be better if I have better fertilizer control, i.e. if we have precision farming, because if you recall, like the moment I turn on the planter again, which what I'm doing is raising and lowering it to stop it at the end of each row, but the moment I lower it, even though there's no seed being applied, the fertilizer starts immediately, and that could simply be where I've lost the extra 1% that didn't make it align perfectly with the seed, because I'm sure this thing is engineered for the most part to do what I'm seeing, at least with the wheat. I mean, I'm sure with different seed volume or variability for different crop types, you know, maybe it won't align as nicely, but here with wheat, I think with precision farming, we'd be able to only have to fill the fertilizer once for 2 full loads of seed, and that would probably work out. I mean, in reality, it probably would be even better than that, because once again, with the soil types and all the variability, it's highly likely we'd be using a lot less fertilizer anyway. So we might get 2.5, 3 loads of seed, but also now we've got variable seed levels. So who knows how it would all work out. Maybe it would still be 2 and 2, but we'd get more of the field covered with that than we are, and there's not really going to be a way to tell. I'd have to, like, I mean, the benefit I guess I have of now recording my work here on the farm and sharing it with you guys is I can include that as part of my analysis. So I guess I could go back and really study, you know, assuming I did the same planning pattern, like, okay, I got this far before precision farming and wheat on this field. Now, where did I run out of supply? And see if it is farther with precision farming or not. Where, if I recall, you know, I'd have to go back because it's been, you know, basically 6 months ago at this point that I started sharing my work here on YouTube, and I think we already had precision farming on FS19 before I started doing this, so like I don't have that ability to check things in the video from Hilly Seneca, because we just weren't, we didn't have the recording before, so I couldn't do what I just said because it doesn't exist. I don't have the things to make the comparison with. But yeah, at this point, I mean, I'm certainly more than halfway done. It's just a question of, am I going to have enough seed to finish the entire field? And I may, because it may have been the situation that obviously I didn't know how much I needed, I may have been filling a little bit less. I don't remember exactly what all the gymnastics were that I was dealing with at that point. I was worried I was going to get hooked on the tree again. Alright, and then we have a couple more passes, and then we've got the longer ones where we're past the island again, but at least for this one I should be able to come in a little different angle here. Guess we'll see. I'm worried this is going to swing very poorly. I think I'm going to get way more than one step here. No, I got two, so I'm thinking the end is going to be a little bit of a problem there. But maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. So I will tell you guys, pretty sure I've shared with you, in the last few weeks, several weeks ago, I'm in my third week now since I had tested positive for COVID, and I've still got lingering cough and a few things here and there. I mean, it's not debilitating or certainly anything terrible like others have had, and it was definitely a mild case, never really even got a fever. Again, I think I've shared most of this before, but maybe not. But that's what some of the pauses are me frankly muting the microphone and coughing away, or whatever else I need to do. But obviously sparing you the unpleasant sounds. So I do apologize for even the more sporadic. Oh shoot, I didn't turn off my planter. I'm popping fertilizer out here, trying to spin around and get this thing, so I'm making my situation even worse. But see, like, fertilizer went, and we literally got no liter of seed to touch that up. Alright, I'm not going to play any games here. I'm just going to cut this, because there's no way. The trees are a lot closer here than they were. And actually, I didn't do 2 passes here, so absolutely going to do what I'm doing, but I'm actually going to run back with another one. And I'm hopeful here, if I kind of swing and then turn, that I might get this part that didn't work, but I might not. Yeah, it actually looks like it made it worse. Awesome. So, some of the fun contours of my field. No, nothing else to say about that, right? But we'll get a third pass here, and that should give us plenty of room to maneuver. And of course, we don't have the forest going all the way over either, so we actually have less of a problem here than I'm making it out to be, but obviously you understand what I'm doing, and just trying to make it easier for me, more enjoyable for you, because I'm able to keep moving, able to stop complaining about missing things. So all in all, it should be a good thing. Even with that, it did. Wow. I mean, it's just one, so I should be okay. We've proven that we can do it. So this set of trees is actually as close as that little one. I thought once I was clear of the little one, I'd be free and clear. No pun intended, but clearly I'm not. So I think we're alright. Yep, we're definitely past. No, of course we're not. There we go. Alright. We used our horsepower and pulled ourselves free. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. How about that? So, We'll see if we get past the trees. I think we will, so we'll be able to go all the way down to the south end of the field here. And then hopefully we'll catch the other portions, because you can kind of see, you know, the challenges we've in essence got. Like we go down, and then at the riverbank we go back up, and then we go down again. So there's kind of an undulation there in the field that for a large working with planter such as we have, it's proving obviously a bit more challenging than we would like. So once again, we're basically swung in, but I think we're still going to move over. Oh, maybe that worked actually. Nice. Alright. So we've got a little bit left, so again, we're wasting a ton of fertilizer over area that we've already planted. Technically over-fertilizing, which would be a bad thing. It would mess up the yield, and in precision farming it does if you're not running over soil that's tested. So again, you can encourage you, if you want to learn about precision farming, go check out my videos on that. I do a lot of testing. I'll link one here particularly about kind of the crop sensors and how that works out, or you know, really more of a field that I had planted and fertilized before I had the precision farming, or before I had the field soil tested. All right. So yeah, I think we'll be okay. I don't think we're going to have to refill anything. We're definitely getting down to the tail end. Obviously, this is a much shorter segment of field now than the first 3 or 4 passes. And while we certainly have more than 3 or 4, or however many it took us to get to the start of the island, like, you know, we're going half the distance back, and after 2 more passes, I think, will be, so you can see here, like, this is just going to be like a total twist. We'll see if we lose connection with the field. We don't, thank goodness. So the implement's flexible enough there. We'll see if it is flexible enough here. It may not be. Alright. So let's see what we get. Should be close. Perhaps just 1 step, so once again, hopefully it all works. If not, I'll be cleaning things up down there again. Not quite sure what was happening there. I didn't see any lag, but obviously it was doing some weird stuttering. But we appear to be past that. Of course, as I say that, it just did a stutter right there, but you know, that's okay. It was doing something much more severe. So yeah, we can see our southern field. Obviously it's not yellow and stubbly anymore. The benefit we may have there is what I think I've determined is now that that field is plowed, which it was plowed because we had corn on it, which then requires plowing afterwards to get the full effectiveness the next time. But once it's plowed, I think we may not get weeds on it that first year. So it kind of ends up being a decision of, do I just want to spend the time to plow, or do I want to spend the money to spray? And it's definitely faster to spray because there's a wider working width, and I think we can go faster than the plow, frankly. But obviously there's a cost to that. But that's assuming that all works, and again, that may all get thrown out the window once we have precision farming. There may always be weeds, just as there was before, simply from the act of planting and simulating the fact that seeds are usually not 100% free of foreign seeds. They're not, all 100% wheat seeds. Sometimes you've got a bit of other stuff in there that you'd rather not have. Alright, I'm guessing, yep. Let's see. It's not gonna give it to me? Come on. Come on, you can do it. I know you can. You really want to plant that. Oh, goodness. I guess you don't. Alright, well maybe actually, I thought I was up, but maybe I wasn't. Just make sure. No, the seeder's on. I just need to lower it. So we'll just do a straight shot now. It should have no issue there. If it does, I don't know if I can plant it then, but no, it looks like it got it. So once again, when I talk about working with savings versus things I need to do because it's harder to maneuver this thing, I've easily spent a minute there spinning in a circle, where with a different seeder that I could control better, I'd be planting. And I don't know that this is really double the working width of what I had before. I think it's maybe at best 50% larger, but I don't even know that it's that. Although it could be, although I don't know. I can obviously go look it up easily enough. Let's go do that. So yes, the Amazon I had was 15 meters. And this is 19.8. So yeah, because initially I was like, well, maybe it was 12 and this is 18, but so that's what I mean. The working width here is not that much larger, but so one has to ask themselves, does this make sense? Now there's another piece of it that likely does mean it makes sense. But I'm going to double check that, because again, I don't know the equipment stats offhand enough to say with 100% confidence that I'm giving you the right information. So I don't want to confuse people, especially if you're new and trying to understand how all this stuff works. But yes, the Amazon is not direct seed. So here you can see, additionally, the seeder offers the possibility to seed directly, where this did not. So that meant I had to do something to prepare the field, and what I was typically doing was plowing, because I hadn't gone ahead and bought a cultivator. And that was then one of the reasons I decided to go with this, because it saves me the job of plowing, where normally I would have to plow this field before I could plant it. But at the time, I don't think we had this available to us in FSN. It got added, so once it showed up, I resisted it in the past, where there were definitely farmers in Seneca that would use this type of equipment. Again, we didn't have exactly this, although we did have seed hawks, so it probably was as exactly this as we could get between FS19 and FS22. I just remember it being more like fire engine red, like, my trailer, like case red, versus the red we've got here now. So maybe it was the same equipment, just different paint job. I don't know. But people were using it, and I just kind of refused at that point, because my belief was the fields were not of a size that warranted it. But here, because I clearly do have much longer runs, and one gigantic field instead of 7 fields that were the same size as this. It just seemed like, alright, now's finally the time. Like, I really can justify needing a massive cedar like this, because now I'm on truly a massive farm up here in Canada. But even with that, I question sometimes, am I getting enough savings? So at some point I'll probably run both, set up my work time thing, because it really only takes a matter of truly a minute. It might even be less than that, because I basically need to get the working width and the speed in, and now I've got my field size estimate. So, once you have those 3 things, the spreadsheet and the formulas just kick out the number, and I'm guessing my savings here might be 15 minutes. And so now now we have to keep in mind there's more savings there because, again, of the direct drill. Because obviously the entire time it would take me to plow this field is also a savings I have. So with that, which is probably why subliminally I haven't even wasted the time to figure it out, it's in essence almost an impossibility that this is not faster in total than the alternative. If I could find something that's 15 meters that direct seeded, that would be more an apples to apples comparison, because then the work that needed to be done, like both of them would have eliminated field prep and plowing. But, because of that, but otherwise, as a straight on calculation, if I truly am saving 15 minutes, the question is, with the fumbling around I've had to do, as you might imagine, given how things, a tractor, it's moving 11 miles an hour here. And when I'm trying to turn, I may be going slower than that. It's not hard to get to 15 minutes. It happens before you know it. Because I'm certainly surprised many a time when I go to edit the videos and realize how much video I have. And, suddenly it's becomes apparent, like, I knew I was in there for a while. It didn't feel that long, because, once again, I enjoy the work, I enjoy the game. If I didn't, I certainly wouldn't be on 100+ episodes of this, but, anyway, hold on, let me flip my lines here. Alright, let me go down, because I really should line up with this rather than line up at the top end. And it's probably honestly 6 1/2 dozen of the other, because, but I'm clearly not lined up here, so let's cycle back this way, do that, and that's more realistic. And if we're going to try to do it the whole way, we want to move this up. There we go. I'm going to give myself a little bit of extra space. Alright. Now we've got this segment left, and then we are done with the planting for this year. So, but yeah, otherwise we're, potentially lining up on the island. We're having a sliver here, but like I said, it's probably 6 1/2 dozen of the other, because obviously then we're going to have the same problem up there, where I'm going to be overlapping into the islands so much that, in essence, I'm making a pass that I'm wasting a ton of seeds, so, or fertilizer. Again, we've established, even with base game here, it doesn't waste seed, because if I turn this on now, seed would not be coming out, because it can tell it's seeded, but it's wasting seed because it's not variable seeding, so there is that benefit, but we didn't have that benefit in Seneca, because the previous precision farming in FS19 didn't have that feature. But it's just all the more reason why it's quite exciting and compelling to think that we're gonna, that we want to get that in here. So I will certainly do what I need to do to make that happen. Right now we really don't have any information on how it might be considered. Do we need to vote for it like every other mod, etc. And what I'm hoping is the crop calendar is just a sign of like, hey, now they understand, now we're going to have precision farming, we're going to have other things that in essence help double cropping a bit, if people want to try that. And because precision farming, will fertilize once, so we're going to get rid of a fertilizer pass, and then just general consumption of things is going to be lower, which means all the supply runs and stuff to get more seed and get more liquid fert or solid fert, well, also there'll be fewer of those as well. And that suddenly then means you've got more time to focus on the things that make you money and use less of the items and therefore decrease your costs. So there's not really anything to not like. It doesn't really give you extra work other than the soil sampling, which in the end didn't turn out to be that terrible. Now again, I may eat my words when I'm trying to sample this field. But the soil sampling is good for a bit, so. But I think I shared, like, we're not going to be able to use the buy the soil map thing, and that's also part of what could derail the entire thing. If they can't find a way to disable that, they wouldn't put it in FSN, because they don't do stuff like that and then just trust people that they won't use it, because frankly there's not a way to monitor it, and human nature being what it is, people are going to be like, well, they have no way of knowing, and I don't want to I don't want to drill my fields, so I'm going to go ahead and just buy the map. Because even looking at the economic analysis, for example, sorry, I just bit my tongue, which is why it sounded so ridiculous when I talked. But even with the economic analysis, like when you buy it, they've still done the soil bores, so it's going to show that you had, say, 95 samples done on the field. The only, although you could tell, I guess, because there is a fee, and that shows up in there. And other than that, we know soil boring and lab fees are just $100 per sample. So if you have 95, it should say 9,500. If it says something else, you clearly went ahead and, in the FSN case, cheated and used the automation that you weren't supposed to. So, but then that kind of creates this auditor requirement for staff, which, on top of the other stuff they're doing, is not fun, because obviously you're auditing with the intent to catch someone that you're then going to reprimand, so nobody's going to be happy with the result. And if somehow you have 100% compliance across the FSN body, you'll be happy, but you've also spent all that time verifying the compliance. And any other potential options, because there's a possibility, you could come at it from a self-audit standpoint, meaning somewhat self, in that, hey, this system won't function, you can't sell your crop until you prove to us you didn't get it from a soil sampled field that you bought a soil map for. So you'd have to submit the screenshot of your economic analysis showing the lower cost for soil sampling, and then that would basically allow you to do what you needed for 3 years or however long the soil maps last, and then you'd have to submit another one. But then the challenge here is, okay, let's say I take a screenshot. Like, the screenshot in the economic analysis doesn't have the date up there anyway. But even if I do have the date, is this September year 84, like we're actually in? Or is it September year 59? You know, did I just keep an old screenshot and just keep sending it to you and say, yep, I did it. Look, I did it. So the challenge is with any kind of compliance monitoring, just ask any of the nuclear validation folks that go around and make sure people are complying with nuclear treaties and aren't testing and whatever. Just how challenging that is and how many ways people can come up to game the system and do what they want and then still pass the audit. So there's no perfect system, which is why I think FSN ops is the only option you've really got to a perfect system. Is don't give people the option to break the rules. So either you're disabling it, or if you can't disable it, the mod's not allowed because we couldn't disable the functionality, which would be really unfortunate, because the other functionality is obviously great, and in the past, the soil map piece, it did exist in FS19, but it was a precision farming add-on. So you had to basically have 2 DLCs, and so in that situation, like last year, they just didn't, the add-on wasn't on the server, so it solved that problem. Like, people did ask, I did see debates, like, can we get the thing where we can hire the engineer, and they made it very clear, nope, that's against the spirit of FSN, which is we're doing the work. We're not just coming in and automating it in an unrealistic way through the game just because somebody created a mod. Let's see. Just curious if I can come in here. I can't. I mean, I know I can come in here. So I had removed the grain cart when Yashid was doing his thing with the plow. I came in and grabbed that with the other tractor, and since I wasn't actually using the auger, I don't need the higher level. But the question became, am I gonna fit? And I may have actually done a good job. And right, so I think that'll work. Let me disconnect, because that's about where I want it. And we're good to go, but we're done planting. And like I said, if I do rolling, just like before, it's always another video, because obviously this one's long enough. But I'll have to see how the day goes and if it gets done or not. But either way, I'll see you next time.